Greetings, everyone, and welcome to the Equity.Guru Investor Roundtable. Today, we are talking about a nutraceutical company. Yes, one of the cool hybrid terms in our world. I'm Rob, that is Galen in the basement with me, living in the dungeon. Chris Perry in the far corner, chilling out. And Vishal upstairs in the gold vault. It is Element Nutrition, ELMT, on the Canadian Exchange with Stuart Lowther, the president and CEO out of Burlington, Ontario. Super cool stuff. Chris Perry has written about him, and he's going to tell us about nutraceuticals.
Hi, everybody. As you may have noticed, 3 of the 4 of us are old. It seems to be a pretty good representation of the world out there, as far as I can tell. An aging population is a slowing population. And as you may have noticed in the drugstore aisle where beverages, ready-to-drink beverages are hanging, there's a lot of products like Ensure, there's a lot of diabetes products, there's whey protein powder drinks, there's all sorts of stuff. All sorts of diets that require a certain element of protein consumption. And in amongst them, and looking pretty much like them, is a product called Rejuvenate Muscle Health, which is done by Element Nutrition, ELMT on your scorecards and in your hearts. What does Rejuvenate do? It's a drink that is intended, and according to the clinical trials that they talk about, it prevents muscle loss. Why is this important? Because, like I said, old, we're starting to get some rickety fingers here and there. We're starting to slow down a little bit when we get out of our chair. We make this sound. It's you've seen it on Grandpa. You're probably seeing it on Dad, maybe Mom. Who knows? But when you get to that age where things start to slow down a little bit, muscles start to decrease, and so Rejuvenate Muscle Health is basically there for limiting the muscle loss of seniors, helping rebuild muscle after injury, and that also extends itself to things like athletes, people who want to put some muscle on. So you can dive into the numbers if you want to, but the thing that's interesting to me is what isn't in this drink. It's sugar-free, dairy-free, gluten-free. It's got 15 grams of organic plant protein, which is the good protein, not that whey stuff that makes you,
Nope.
And so,
what does that mean? Does it affect your sexual stuff? Is that what we're saying here?
Well, I don't want to paint too detailed a picture for you there, Rob. But when you get off your bike, when you get off your bike after a long ride, is there a part of you that feels a little hanging low in the speedos, if you know what I mean? Anyway. So Rejuvenate Muscle Health is out there. It's in all the drugstores. It's in Walgreens. It's in Sam's Club, Walmart. You can go out there. You can buy it right now. It's not a product that may be on shelves one day. We've seen a lot of those. It's actually on shelves immediately. $2.3 million in revenue over the last quarter, which is a nice wedge of revenue, 600% up over the year before. I don't know what to tell you. We've been saying, even though this company was a client last year, and that relationship has lapsed, we still watch those companies. It had a bit of a rough run over the last 6 months, but the numbers that just came out are good numbers, and saw it spike from like 22 cents to 42 cents in one sitting. So we've been telling you this is an interesting one. It remains an interesting one in terms of market cap, which I'm a big fan of keeping an eye on. This is a $35 million company making $2 million a quarter. So about $9 million a year, 2.5 times revenues on the market cap is pretty decent. So I like it. I think they've done a good job in explaining what they are and what they're going to do, and getting themselves on shelves, which is not an easy thing to do for a new product at all.
Very nice. I'm still concerned about the whey, WHEY protein, which I have worked into my rotation previously.
It's not as bad as soy, but it's not the good protein, It's like,
yeah. But if it affects the junk, I'm gonna have to get rid of that.
Everything affects the junk when you get to a certain age.
Galen, you want to pick it up there with that?
Yeah, sure.
Just embrace the strap on. It's just going to be a part of your life.
See, there you go. Now, let's move past that. As we get into our later years, as Chris said, things begin to fall apart, for lack of a better description. And the market for putting things back together again is actually quite lucrative for the companies that are involved. It's a nice niche market. It's a relatively easy sell in a certain sense because there is an actual problem that you're providing a solution for. You're not in search of a problem, it's already there in black and white. So these guys are amongst those purveyors of drinks and unguents and solves that help us get through the latter years of our life. Rejuvenate has done quite well in terms of clinical studies. I am not a scientist myself, so I can't really vouch for the data coming out, but apparently they've done quite well in eliciting the desired results when these products are being used. So that's an awesome thing. It's not just something that makes you feel good and you hope to God that it's not some sort of Amway sell. So these guys are moving along, as Chris said, 2.3 million in the last quarter as far as revenue is concerned. It still left them about $1 million in the hole, but they're still building the company, right? It's not enough to push the bottom line, but enough to make it look like they're actually doing business, which is a good thing because it's incredibly hard to do that, especially if you're competing to get your stuff on the supermarket shelves, which is incredibly difficult. There's all sorts of corporate nepotism, I guess you could say, in terms of getting your things listed on a store's shelves and getting spotlighted. It can be quite costly and sometimes completely ineffective. So they're doing a good job of getting it out there. And I think that they have a tremendous amount of potential. Now, as we discussed before, they had the crap kicked out of them in the stock market just recently, and that has a lot to do with the way the markets have been trending anyway. And as well, they're a company that has a product that needs to get out there and start, hitting the ground and moving, right? They were in the building stage still when this stuff started happening. And, to a certain extent, that's a lot on the investors themselves. In today's society, we have a lot of junior investors that don't really know the markets very well, don't really understand the values of fundamentals and such, get really excited about something, dump all their money into it, and when it doesn't perform superhumanly, they get disappointed and run away. And so I think we saw a lot of that sort of happening as well in these stocks and with others. You'll note with the EV market, with the cannabis market, with psychedelics market, it all came out very hot. People had all sorts of dreams of blue sky potential, but in actual fact, most of it was overvalued because people just didn't understand it. I think we've hit a good point with this company in terms of what it's valued at and the business it's doing in terms of how you want to get in on a growth opportunity. I think at this point, all you're going to see is an upward mobility with this company. I don't think we're going to see any more bottoming out, as it were. The products are out. They've got their medical proven or medical studies behind them, and they're also on the shelves right now making sales. So I like the company. I think it's interesting, and even though I regret to say that I am getting older and probably in need of some of their products, it's a good thing they're out there.
Talking about Element Nutrition, which is ELMT on the Canadian Exchange, and Mr. Vishal will talk about charts.
For sure, Rob. So in the past, we were talking about many of these support levels. I believe here at like around 63 cents, around 44 cents. And the stock, it kept breaking down, as Galen mentioned, part of it to do with the overall market move. Recently on May 12th, we did hit an all-time record low on the stock at 16 cents. But I'm happy to say now that we have a case where the technicals and the fundamentals are both aligning quite well. And it seems like a new uptrend has just begun. We'll talk about what happened on the 31st of May with a big 38% candle, big green candle, 38% day gainer, and 1.7 million shares were traded on that day. So quite a lot of shares. And of course, that was the market's reaction to the numbers that came out the day before there. And I think, that's great. You have a catalyst, which causes a breakout on multiple technical levels here. We climb back above this 28.5 cent zone. Some people here with a technical eye can maybe see a pattern we sort of talked about many times called the cup and handle, where it looks like a profile view of, the cup here and then the handle here to the right. And then just, by looking at the chart, just by looking at these trend lines, we had a downtrend and now we've broken back above it. And everything right now, again, is pointing to a new uptrend here. We could be seeing a drop back down to 33 cents, which actually might be tested on the day this video comes out. There's some support there, but I believe that as long as the stock is now back above 28 cents, a support level that it held like multiple times until 2022 really has been regained. And yeah, everything here looks bullish, to be honest. You've got the fundamentals, you have the technicals here as well, and now we just got to see if momentum sustains.
Which brings us to the not $1 million question, the $7,500 question is, Chris Perry, are you spending any do-si-do right now on ELMT?
You're muted, my friend.
Yeah. Sorry, I had a siren going on behind me. I think what's interesting right now, if you're looking at the news releases, these guys continue to put out notes that they're going out to more stores. Mm-hmm. Eventually, that's got to stop because they're hitting all the damn stores that exist out there right now. They're Amazon, Walgreens, Sam Club, CVS, Publix, iHerb. That's just in the US. They're also across Canada as well. They're doing a subscription model where you get 30 days worth of stuff sent to your door, which is interesting, but I don't think it's going to be massive. But they're also talking about bringing out new products. And once you've completed trials on those products, which they claim they have, then you can start looking to the third quarter where they start bringing new ready-to-drink beverages out to expand upon what they've already got. Now, if you've got a spot on the supermarket shelves, keeping that spot is difficult, generally speaking. You have to sell consistently throughout the month and continue to grow the brand, right? Selling just the same amount next month, that's looked at as, well, you're going to be the first one to go once a new product comes along. So these guys have been managing to increase sales, and they're increasing the number of places that they're at, and they're getting to a place where they can start actually advertising and marketing it.
Yep.
So I think that's a really positive sign. I like where the stock is right now. It's been massacred. I don't like the fact that I held it while it was being massacred, but I like the fact that it's now at a place where you kind of look at it and you can see that the wheels are starting to turn now.
Yep.
And so this is the time. If you're going to put anything in of the 75, look, I think there's a possibility that you've seen over the last few days where people have seen that massive jump and said, I'll take my profits. And so you might see a little bit more of that. I'd throw 5K in there and see if it stabilizes. If it starts to rise again and get a bit more momentum, chuck the rest in on top of it before it gets away from you.
Galen, your turn.
I'm of the same mind as Chris in terms of the technicals. I think there is a bit more of a bloodletting to happen. Not a huge one, but enough of one that you may want to save a little bit in reserve. And and if it does happen, then you just have better deals and you can get in. So I'm going to actually throw 5K as well. Look at me copying, doing exactly the same thing.
Yes. Galen?
Yes.
Or I'm sorry, Michelle?
Yeah. I'm going to be putting in around 3K for this one. Again, I like the technicals. I like that fundamentals there as well. And this is really what I want to see. We talked about maybe a bit of a sell-off here. So I think we'll see a pattern like this. This is what we are hoping to see, targeting 63 cents, long term. I'm not saying this is going to happen next week or whatnot, but this is the trajectory if this uptrend on a technical basis holds. If we do get a bit lower, around 30 cents here, I might be willing to throw in 2 more K or 3 more K, depending on what I see there. But we have the technicals. We got a nice, fundamental case here as well. And now it's just going to be about those upcoming catalysts and whether the stock can sustain momentum and investor money. But this is the type of structure that I want to see coming. So I'm going to be putting 3K now and watch to see what we do on the retest there.
Not bad. 5K, 5K, 3K, and a senior moment, just to prove Chris's point there for me as we move towards Element Nutrition. out of Burlington, Ontario, ELMT on the Canadian Exchange. Check them out. Stuart Lowther is the president and CEO. We tell you now that we can't guarantee results. Past performance does not guarantee future results, nor anything that we tell you. So please do a little homework, do a little research, and check out Element Nutrition. And we'll see you on the next Equity Guru Investor Roundtable.